I want to do a little of this most recent board meeting, and I did catch bits and pieces of this, and they're gonna steal your money. These unelected sociopathic elites sitting at this table here are about to pass some kind of resolution which will raise your transit fares. And as we know, people that are bus dependent are the lowest economic strata of life. They're at the very bottom of the economy, and they're about to completely disregard all that last public testimony, and they're going to do what they do, which is run your transit system against you. The transit system is not for you. Remember that. It's for the elites. And I thought they raised the fare 40 cents. Apparently, it was 30 cents. Of course, I only caught a piece of it. So, there's Ozzy. Look at him. Let's watch this and enjoy this ridiculous circus of the elites. Oh, and by the way, the election has ended. I didn't pay any. I was interested in seeing it because I like watching all the people freaking out about who's going to win because, they're just not. They don't get it. They don't get it that it doesn't really matter who wins. The oligarchy owns both parties. And as I said in a Twitter tweet, I said, you have two choices, the kill them fast party and the kill them slow party. And both of them will kill you. It's just the speed of which they're going to kill you. In Oregon, the kill them slow party won again. And that's probably better, I guess, because killing them slow is good for me because I'm already old, not ancient, but getting to my target date. And, the Republicans are known for cutting health care, benefits, pensions. They cut stuff. And Americans support that. Americans support fucking people. That's what Americans love. They love to fuck people. Just like this last election, you guys over there found out that 45% of the electorate wanted to keep slavery. And the majority of the electorate did not want health care for everybody. So we're living in this really sick nation with very sick people in it. And so the Democrats are out there saying how great it was, even though they just lost the House. They lost the House. It's not a victory for them. No, there's no red wave. I mean, the abortion thing was the only thing they had, and they still play off the Trump phobia. And the shit libs are dedicated to the Democrats, That's the way it is. And these are all shit libs here. These are all shit libs, they're called. They're Democratic tyrants. I mean, let me point out that Portland is one of the most tyrannical cities in the country. You have Wheeler getting ready to throw everybody into concentration camps. You have these people raising fares on the poorest people in the area. You have police brutality that was out of control during the demonstrations. They just beat the shit out of people. So, I mean, you're living in a very regressive city with a very good marketing campaign that pretends they're liberals. But nothing about these people here are progressive. These are all backwards ruling. The entire TRIMET is just backward. Everything they're doing is wrong. Basically, everything they're doing is wrong. But this guy here, Dessous, is making $365. He's making the most money of any general manager in history at the exact same time that his agency is in collapse. The ultimate irony. And they just figured out a new executive. What was it? I did it in my last meeting. It was, the executive director of vulnerable communities. Anytime they get some idea in their head, they put a bureaucrat. They figure out a director. I mean, it just doesn't end, man. The absurdity just doesn't end. All right, let's get a little of this in before my day starts here. And again, you had to go 14 minutes in to get to the beginning because they don't trim their videos for whatever reason.
Good morning and welcome to today's board retreat. I want to make some opening remarks, and I've done a lot of thinking about what brought us here
Look at
today.
Ozzy up there.
And
Ozzy, are you Big Brother? Ozzy looks like that George Orwell movie, Big Brother. He's looking over here. He's watching us all.
It's a culmination that started in September of 2021.
I vote Ozzy for Big Brother. He's fucking. I love that shit. I like that guy, by the way, even though he's a shit lib. He's still likable.
When the board had an education session to begin to better understand the financial situation in
they're actually have the nerve to say they're going to have financial problems and that somehow fares is going to matter. We know that this is a lie. We know that. Okay, they're just lying to us right in our face, just like politicians and these technocrats do. They just come right out and say what they think they need to say to get what they want. Okay, they come up with a construct, and then they tell you what the problem is, so that they can give you it's called the Hegelian dialect. You create a problem, you propose a solution, get the public on board, and then you do the solution that you wanted all along. That's what they're doing here. They're telling you that there's some kind of a financial problem, which is not true. Fares at the most, I don't know. They say that in 2014 that the fares covered 40% of the. I don't believe it, but Jason sent me something about it, but I didn't have time to look at it. But anyway, their fares have not covered it anywhere near that in recent years. And the last time I looked at it, it was 10% of operating cost, or no, 14% of operating costs, and 7% of the actual budget. And don't forget, the TRIMET budget is 1.9 billion with a B. And the operating cost for the agency is I don't know off the top of my head, but let's say 750 million. So that leaves 1.2 billion that they're spending on other stuff. But yet they're here they're going to tell you they're having a financial problem, and it's just hilarious. I just find it hilarious.
Agency. And then it moved into November of 2021, where we actually had our first set of education sessions to consider and to talk about the role of fare. And we elected at that point to postpone making any decision about ridership fare until sometime in 2022. The third time was just last month, where we had an opportunity to learn about the role that fare plays in terms of the financial organization, in terms of supporting the operations of the agency. And at the conclusion of that time, each of the board members were asked to provide me with their thoughts on what they needed the staff to provide in order to make an informed decision about whether or not the agency should move forward at some point in the future on a fare increase. Not all board members are in agreement about this, and it's one of those times where we agree to disagree. The question is there enough support among the board to actually direct the staff to start the community polling, the Title VI evaluation, to bring back to the board for a formal vote? So today,
we already know how the public feels. Okay, the public is not going to support this. They're never going to support this. Oh my son's orders are already. Jesus. God. There's some advantages to living with modern technology, I have to tell you.
Today, one of the outcomes of today will be a straw vote among the board in terms of one direction that we will direct the agency to move forward on in order to bring potentially an ordinance change back to us in April. Something that you may or may not have noticed in the audit report that we received in October was a statement that in 2023, the operating cost compared to the operating revenue, there was a $200 million, wasn't it, Nancy? Yes, deficit.
Yeah, see, now that's a lie, because the goddamn they got more money than ever because the federal government gave them money to preserve the service. They did not preserve the service. The service collapsed. They've been short 300 operators, which means they saved $30 million for the last 2 years. So they have $60 million extra sitting there. So she's lying. I mean, these are lies.
So there was $200 million less than what it took to really run the organization. And it's finance's role to make sure that we have a balanced budget. What has made it possible to have a balanced budget in light of less fair revenue has been recently through federal COVID
Oh, she's
funds.
reading it. Look, she's reading. She's reading it off a teleprompter. See, they tell her what to say, and she says it like a good parrot.
Federal COVID relief funds, and from the fact that when we have budgeted positions in the agency and they are unfilled, those dollars are recurring once the position is filled, but they're one-time source of funds to help mitigate the lack of revenue to support operations. So it's not that we don't have an issue. It's that we've got one-time resources that are plugging the hole between what it costs to operate this organization and the resources available. Now, there are some among us, and it's perfectly fine to say we need other sources of revenue. And I don't mind looking for other sources of...
You know, they would have some credibility if they had cut a whole bunch of their bureaucracy. Okay, if they had made the move to cut their bureaucracy instead of expand it, I would say, okay, there's an actual crisis going on here. But the only thing that suffered, folks, is riders. They've cut the service. They didn't cut anything else over there. Nothing. This is how we know they're not being honest here. They have not cut anything else. They've expanded the bureaucracy. The paychecks are outrageous over there. You should see the payroll now. But here they are trying to convince people that they're going to go broke if they don't increase the fare. And we know that the increasing the fare is going to hurt the least people, the least vulnerable, the most vulnerable among us. The bus people are in the ditch, and they're going to want to steal more from them. And it's unconscionable, but it's not unexpected. This is the society we live in. It's not just them. It's every fucking governmental agencies doing the same thing. And I don't even think this is coming from them. I think this is orders from higher up, specifically the Biden administration. And you know why I know that? Because I follow national and international transit news, and I see other agencies doing the exact same thing, which means either it was an order from higher up, or they all got together and decided they were going to do the same thing. Okay, there's some kind of coordination here. It's not a decision coming from your local people. And her job, Simmons' job, is to be the mouthpiece for the general manager. Remember, the TRIMET board's role is to provide cover for the general manager.
The revenue. The issue is that it will take some time in order to do that. And we've gone 10 years without any kind of a fare increase, while operating expenses have increased 44%.
44%. Where are you coming up with that? I mean, the driver's got a 7.5% raise. Where are you coming up with that? What are you talking about?
So what brings us here today was that enough board members indicated in the feedback that they gave me to pass on to the staff that there was enough support to consider a fare increase at some point.
There's no support. It's just you people, and you're all sociopaths. You're not connected to the citizens at all. There's no support for this. None. They're going to jam it down our throat, just like they jam down your throat everything else at TriMet. They didn't ask you if you wanted it. They put that stupid FX in there, which is now not FX anymore. They did that without asking anybody. They did the Better Ed without asking anybody. They rebuilt the Powell Garage without asking anybody. They bought that new base without asking. They do everything without asking anybody. Okay, so don't fall for this.
Point in the future. And so that's why we've got some proposals that you're going to see today. It's not an opportunity to mix and match those.
I'm sorry, this is not a professional presentation. I'm eating and doing other things while I do this. This is not professional, so you have to excuse me, but I'm not interested in making a professional presentation. I'm watching this on because it's part of my habits, but I'm not trying to make it like professional. So you're going to hear me eating, coughing, sneezing, whatever.
Proposals. As I've always said, the board's role is policy. The staff, we have to trust the staff that they know what it's going to take to in order to support the agency going forward.
And there you go. She just admitted it right there. She just told you. Whatever the staff tells us, we are here to make sure that happens. She just told you that right there. And I have things to do right now, so I can't spend much time with this, but that's a good start. All right, over and out for this episode.